Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Luke Beller with the Sideline Scoop, and now week 1 is almost in the books. I'm posting this on Monday, and the Monday Night Football games haven't happened yet. So week 1 is almost done, and so we have lots of guys to look at, lots of performances that I think are, pretty notable, and so I thought I would make a video basically breaking down some of the top performers sort of from Sunday's games. And of course, I haven't talked about every player, so if you're like, why didn't you talk about this guy? I couldn't fit every single person in on this video, so I just picked a few guys who I think just really stood out this first Sunday of NFL football. So let's get right into it. The first guy I'm going to be breaking down today is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson came in, led the Seahawks to a 38-25 win over the Atlanta Falcons. If you take a look at his stat line right here, it was pretty crazy. It was a wild stat line. 31 of 35, 322 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So Russell Wilson came out ready to play, only 4 incompletions. I mean, man, I would not want to be playing Russell Wilson right now. But if we sort of take a look at what was different about this game, then it's sort of look in the past for the Seahawks. Because I know in the past, the Seahawks have been such a, run-focused team, sort of start out with the run. But if you take a look at yesterday's game, the Seahawks actually passed on the first 18 of 25 plays. So it sort of seems like they're like maybe moving away from sort of getting started with the run, and they let Russell Wilson just fling it. I know Seahawks fans were happy about that. They wanted to see Russell Wilson just sort of unleashed from the beginning of the game. And, seeing here what happened when Russell Wilson was unleashed just from the start, letting him go out, letting him throw the ball around like crazy, I think, I don't see why the Seahawks wouldn't continue to do this with Russell Wilson. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and there's no reason the Seahawks shouldn't just utilize him, in every way that they can right from the start. And so if we were to sort of take a look last season, they were 4th when it came to running the ball. So their pass to run split was 54% pass, 46% running plays. The other teams who ran the ball more than them were all teams who just don't really have a quarterback who is as great as Russell Wilson. Those 3 other teams were Vikings, Titans, and 49ers. So Russell Wilson is obviously better than any of those quarterbacks on those teams. Of course, it's not like they have a bad running back. They have Chris Carson, who in the past 2 seasons has consecutive 1,100 rush yard seasons. So they still have a stellar running back in Chris Carson. And actually, Chris Carson was a benefactor of Russell Wilson. He caught 2 of his 4 passing touchdowns. So Chris Carson seems to be, being more utilized out of the backfield, at least in yesterday's game. And I guess we can't base the entire season off of yesterday, but the Seahawks started off with a bang. Russell Wilson coming in and just lighting the Falcons up. The next guy we're going to talk about is Josh Jacobs, coming into his 2nd year on this Raiders team, and the Raiders pulled out a pretty tight victory, really close. Raiders 34, Panthers 30. So it was a super close game in this one. If we take a look at Josh Jacobs' stat line, 25 carries, 93 yards, 3 touchdowns. 3, isn't that crazy? 3 touchdowns, crazy. 4 receptions and 46 yards. And if you sort of take a look at last season, Josh Jacobs only had 7 touchdowns the entire season, and already in game 1, he has 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's just wild. That's just crazy. And even after the game, Jay Gruden compared him to Walter Payton. And so, I mean, I think Josh Jacobs is going to be one of the best running backs, for the years to come, considering he's only in his 2nd year. He's so young, and he's so talented. And, the Raiders are pretty lucky to have Josh Jacobs on this team. So he really just, he really helped this Raiders team pull it off against the Panthers. But also, Derek Carr played pretty well in the game. We can't really pass that by. I think people don't really give Derek Carr the respect he really deserves at times. He's a pretty solid quarterback, and I just think people sort of throw him under the bus. I mean, people just don't like to pay attention to him. So, I don't really know why. But Derek Carr, 239 yards, not terrible, but a solid 73% completion percentage and no sacks allowed. So, the Raiders won that game with Josh Jacobs just leading the way, plowing ahead. Now, this is going to be a group of players I'm going to talk about. And right here, the guys we're going to be talking about is Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. The Cardinals upset the 49ers 24-20 in a pretty close game. And I watched some of that game because Kyler Murray is my fantasy quarterback. And so I have, I have lots of reasons to hope and believe that Kyler Murray can be one of the best NFL quarterbacks this year because my fantasy team really does need him. And yesterday, let me just tell you, one of the reasons I picked him is because he can pass the ball and run the ball, and so he's like a dual threat, so he can almost put up those running back numbers as well, and he did that yesterday. He had 13 rushing attempts for 91 yards. He actually had 100 yards rushing before they ended up kneeling the ball at the end of the game, and he lost 9 yards. So he would have had a 100-yard rushing game if not for kneeling at the end of the game, and he had 1 rushing touchdown. His passing stats, 230 yards, 65% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. So those passing stats don't look as good, I guess, as maybe some other quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson from this week, but the fact that Kyler Murray can do it with his arm and with his legs, just having that dual threat ability, like, I mean, I was just watching this game, and he can just scramble like crazy. He can get out. He can just, I mean, he just plays around, messes around with his entire defense. I mean, running for 91 yards as a quarterback, I mean, that's pretty crazy. And the fact that he can do both, I think that this Cardinals team is going to be pretty scary. If we take a look at DeAndre Hopkins, of course, the Cardinals made the trade for him in this offseason. You know, it was a pretty bad trade for the Texans. They got David Johnson. The Cardinals got DeAndre Hopkins, but DeAndre Hopkins had a monster game. He had, let's take a look at the stats, 14 receptions, which was a career high for him, 150 yards. And he would have had a touchdown, but his knee was down. I think they reversed the touchdown call, so Kyler Murray would have had another touchdown as well. But, I mean, that was a nice trade by the Cardinals to bring in Hopkins for, you know, to pair with Kyler Murray. This offense is going to be pretty hard to stop this season. As you can see, you know, upsetting the 49ers who made it to the Super Bowl last year. Kyler Murray, he's going to be fun to watch. He's going to take my fantasy team to the championship. I can already see it happening. I'm starting off 1-0 in fantasy, so, you know, that's another good positive for me, side note. But anyways. And then the last sort of group and duo I want to talk about today. Of course, you guys probably would expect this considering I'm a huge Packers fan. Considering this channel is mostly about the Packers, besides, of course, you know, some other videos just talking about the NFL in general. But yesterday, Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Adams, man, they just put on a show, and I had to cover them. I had to touch on them. Even though I already put out a Packers recap yesterday, we just had to throw them in here as well, you know, give them some more love. Aaron Rodgers, 32-44, 364 yards, and 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's just silencing the critics, all the haters in the offseason who said, like, you know, he's on the decline. He's pretty much done. Aaron is like, watch this, guys. Watch me work. Watch me show you guys that, yeah, I'm not done anywhere near yet. And so I hope Aaron Rodgers is going to play to his 40s on the Packers. I think it's going to happen. But Davante Adams also put up a monster game. He tied the Packers record for most catches in a game. 14 receptions, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the NFL, if not the best. Davante Adams, honestly, I don't think he gets as much love as he deserves. He's one of the top wide receivers in the league, no doubt, no question about it. And Aaron Rodgers really basically put on a show against this Vikings team, who I did talk about earlier in this week. You know, they have lots of young corners, lots of young corners on their team. And so I thought that was one way the Packers could sort of take advantage of the Vikings, and they basically did. They destroyed the Vikings. The score looks a little closer, 43-34, but the Vikings, you know, scored a lot of points, you know, at the end of the game when the Packers were sort of taking their foot off the gas pedal. But that was a solid game, fun game to watch, of course. But those are the, I guess, 4, 5, 6 different players I wanted to touch on who were studs this week, had standout performances in this first week of the NFL season. So that's going to be all for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you smash the like button down below. And if you want to see some more NFL content, some more Packers content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. But thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one.